I put my dad in the street against a heavyweight.
I've gone back to the dad. I've punched him a few more times.
There's 5 blokes outside my front door. Can you come and help
One
me?
hell of a fucking story, so stay tuned.
This is Ahmed for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. We're in Manchester, live on BT Sport Box Office. This Saturday night in Manchester, Joseph Parker takes on Joe Joyce. Just before we start, just had a moment there with S-Jam's Shane Watson. Just to explain what happened there, you went over to him?
No, I just saw him having an interview and just said a lot of things, so I just went and said hello.
What's he been saying?
Just talking crap, really. Just things about the fight, but it's not really. I just went and just said, "What's up? How's it going?"
He's Team Joe Joyce, so...
Yeah, Team Joe Joyce.
Well, you're certainly not Team Joe Joyce. What did you make of his demeanour today, Joe?
Joe looks confident. When you've done the work as a fighter, you go into the fight with confidence, and you've put everything in training camp. You've done. Trainer's been there, doing the strength work, sparring, everything. So he does look confident and looks ready to go. And I'm ready to go as well. I've put in some great work in training. Had some great sparring partners. Just kept working on a lot of things with Andy Lee. So I'm looking forward to putting it on display. And all I want to do is show improvements from my last fight and be better than my last fight and keep going upwards.
At the same time, you're young. I think you're 29, 30, aren't you? 30?
30 years old, yeah.
30. But you've been former heavyweight world champion. You're experienced. How much of that is an advantage, the fact that you are experienced but you're still a young man?
Listen, it could be a great advantage for me. Joyce has done very well in his career so far, being undefeated, and he's going to come with that, with that sort of undefeated buzz and confidence. But with the experience that I've had, I know that I can cause a lot of trouble for him. With the style that I have, I know that I'm, got better speed and better movement. But I know it's a tough challenge, so I have to be on point on Saturday night. I just have to do everything right that we've been working on.
You fought heavyweight world champions before, and Andy Ruiz and Anthony Joshua. You got up against Joe Joyce, who's one of the most decorated amateurs that's come out of Great Britain, but hasn't boxed at a level that you have, I think, in the professional ranks, that's fair to say. How would you rank this in terms of your toughest test? Is this tougher than Anthony Joshua? Is this less tougher?
It's a different test. Joshua at the time was a tough test because, of what he presented. He was a champion in height and reach, and he was knocking out everyone that he fought. I was the first man to take him the distance. It wasn't the best fight. I wasn't the most entertaining, and I wasn't the most aggressive, but it was a good learning fight for me. At this stage of my career, this is the toughest fight. This is the person who's in front of me in the rankings, and in order for me to get better and to improve and move up, I have to be who's in front of me.
Do you have regrets from that night in Cardiff against Anthony Joshua?
Yes, you're always going to look back and say, I wish I did this, I wish I did that, but it's about working on it now and improving for fights like this fight this weekend and future fights. If you're going to have regrets, it's just going to carry on with you, and what's the point? You already did it. I didn't get the win, but I can improve and work on things for future fights.
Why were you going flat in your career, and specifically the fight with Junior Farr? Why were you going on a decline, you feel?
I just felt like I was overtraining. I got into sort of the habit where more training is better, and left it all in the gym really, and left it all. It's no one's fault. It's just one of those things where I just thought more was better, but more was worse. And now with Andy, Tyson, with the team, Andy has full control, so he knows when I've trained enough, and he's that voice that says, all right, that's enough. You've done enough training. That's enough. Finish up, and then we can do some more tomorrow or tonight or whatever. So it's good to have someone and Andy who controls everything and make sure that everything's on point.
Well, Andy Lee has been a huge influence, clearly, to yourself and Tyson Fury. In terms of Andy Lee, he says, if Joseph Parker is perfect and boxes to my orders and what we've worked on in camp, this will be an easy fight against Joe Joyce. If you box the perfect fight, do you firmly believe it will be an easy night on Saturday?
If I box the perfect fight that I believe I can, no fight's easy, and especially with Joe Joyce, it's not an easy fight, but I can make it easier on myself, if that makes sense. And it just depends on if I show up or not. I know Joyce has got his plan, and he's got his team, and he's got his supporters, and he does what he does, and he fights the way he does, and it's one style from what we've seen. But I know I can change it up, And if I show up 100%, execute, everything will be sweet.
No one's been able to break through that chin of his so far. You firmly believe that you can break him down and potentially stop Joe Joyce, which is something that a lot of fighters can't do.
Yeah, any fighter can stop any fighter. Really? But it's just about, any fighter can stop any fighter. It's just about chipping away, and then eventually it'll crack.
There's been a lot of talk around the rematch clause, and your guy David Higgins believes that Frank and Joe are slightly mentally weak in putting that rematch clause in. Adam Morley, Joe Joyce's guy, said that we're not worried about Joseph Parker. He couldn't even get rid of Derek Chisora. We're just putting a rematch clause in for our own insurance. What do you think about the rematch clause, honestly?
Yeah, it's just an excuse, Adam Morley, just using an excuse, the reason why they put in a rematch clause. When we negotiated with them for the first, after my first Chisora fight, there was no rematch clause. After the second fight, there was a rematch clause. And it signed this, or you're not going to get the fight. Listen, I wanted the fight that much that I signed it with a rematch clause. So it just shows when there was a first fight with Derek Chisora and I didn't perform the best, there was no rematch clause. After the second fight, there was.
So we'll be heading into a rematch on Sky Sports box office. That is what is going to be happening?
That's my plan. My plan is to beat him this weekend and beat him again in December, then be free to do whatever I want.
What's Tyson been saying in Morecambe in camp?
Tyson's been there now and then for camp, but he's busy doing his own things. It's nice to have him on the runs, and it's great to have him in the gym, cheering us on and supporting us. But he says it's going to be a great fight and a tough fight. And he said, may the best man win. But I know, obviously, with the relationship we have, he's going to be cheering for Team Parker.
What do you think about him previously saying that when he sparred Joe Joyce, that was the toughest opponent he's had in a ring? Has he discussed that with you?
Hasn't really discussed that with me, no.
Right, Joseph, I think you've got to go. So I want a final prediction and a warning to Joe Joyce. If you look down that camera, take the mic. Take it away.
Joe Joyce, I'll see you very soon. Fight time is here. I hope you're ready. Hope you've trained hard, rest well, and you're going to be in for a big surprise come Saturday night. See you soon.
Well, everyone tune in live on BT Sport Box Office. Joseph Parker, thank you very much for talking to IFL TV, and we'll see you soon after the fight, all right?
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, I put my dad in the street against a heavyweight.
I've gone back to the dad. I've punched him a few more
There's
times.
5 blokes outside my front door. You coming in?
One hell of a fucking story, so stay tuned.